We've got an update here from one of the owners of the Unrivaled, and let's be real.
Caitlin Clark, she isn't playing in this first season of the league, but she's open to playing. What is it going to take to get a Caitlin Clark to play next season?
I think everything we're doing, for Caitlin, I feel like it's just been such a whirlwind, coming from college and all that came with that to, being in her first WNBA rookie season. It's just a lot to handle, and there's no break, especially for the rookies. They play for 18 months straight or something crazy like that, just because going from both seasons. And so I know she really needed that little mental break from basketball for a little bit, but all we can do is show her what we have. And I think what we have here is really special. And of course, we're always going to have a spot for her, and hopefully we can make it work in the future.
I think they've got to get much bigger. I think they got to give her $10 million to play in this thing.
The Unrivaled League is in serious trouble. Ratings are crashing, viewership is plummeting, and even the so-called biggest stars like Angel Reese can't bring in an audience.
If you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing.
But now, Napheesa Collier just dropped a massive statement. She believes Caitlin Clark will play in Unrivaled. Why? Because they desperately need her.
You've got no chance of turning a profit if you don't get Caitlin Clark involved in this league. You're not going to get the ratings, which in turn is not going to give you the revenue.
We all saw what happened when Caitlin rejected their $1 million offer. The league unraveled, literally. But will they now offer her more? And if they do, will she even want to help a league full of players who have disrespected her?
There's a lot of women in this league that hate her, that cannot stand her, have treated her very badly. Does she really want to help them out?
Stay tuned, because we're about to break down everything. The ratings disaster, the failed Angel Reese experiment, and why the entire future of Unrivaled hinges on Caitlin Clark.
If I'm the Unrivaled League, I go back to Caitlin Clark and say, what do you need? And then I give it to her. But Caitlin Clark seems beyond that, and that adds to her popularity.
And if they offer a lot of money, she'll probably show up and do it.
The Unrivaled League is trying everything to survive, and now they're openly admitting they need Caitlin Clark. Napheesa Collier, one of the league's co-founders and a current WNBA star, publicly confirmed that they are keeping a spot open for Clark, hoping she will join in the future. This statement alone tells us one thing: they know they cannot succeed without her.
This league will not make it if they don't get Caitlin Clark involved. When her and Angel Reese play each other, if they're not on the same team, you could probably expect a pretty big rating there too. Well, Angel Reese does get views. It's because Caitlin Clark's involved.
Collier, speaking on the Run It Back podcast, made it clear that Clark isn't playing in the league's first season, but she is open to playing in the future.
Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw in women's basketball, and without her, many fans just aren't going to tune in.
That's a major shift, because before this, Clark had flat out rejected a $1 million offer to play just a few games. Now, suddenly, Unrivaled is back pushing for her inclusion. Why the change? Simple. The league is failing.
It's here that we need to just realize Angel Reese is playing. And, she's been very big on herself as being a massive draw. If that is, in fact, the truth, then why are people not watching with the same excitedness that they were watching Caitlin Clark?
TNT gave $100 million to an Unrivaled. They're interested in Caitlin Clark, which is why TNT offered her $1 million to join this polished turd.
Unrivaled needs a star who can actually bring in fans, sell tickets, and attract sponsors. And no one does that better than Caitlin Clark. Let's be honest, Clark's impact is unmatched. Wherever she plays, ratings explode, stadiums sell out, and people tune in from all over the world.
I think that experiencing it, I love Caitlin Clark fans. They are very passionate people, and they gonna ride or die. The one thing I would say about Caitlin Clark fans, they'll go anywhere she go.
In the WNBA, she's already setting records for viewership and ticket sales, proving that she alone can elevate a league. Without her, Unrivaled is just a collection of players who can't pull an audience.
Go check out games with Angel Reese that don't involve Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese couldn't sell out home games, wasn't selling out at LSU. She damn sure isn't selling out the dump in Chicago.
Even TNT Sports, which is financially backing Unrivaled, knows this. They're watching the numbers, and they see what everyone else sees. Without Clark, this league is dead in the water. That's why there's now talk of offering her even more money, with some analysts suggesting they might need to go as high as $10 million just to get her to consider playing.
The Unrivaled's Week 2 ratings have come out. They are real bad. In fact, Angel Reese failed to break 100,000 viewers. I mean, that is garbage. We told you people wasn't going to tune in for this league. We tried to tell you that. Now, tell me again how everybody's tuning in for you. A lot of people are tuning in for that little highlight where she lined up for that wide open top of the key three and then airballed it. She's still getting crushed. The new women's basketball league Unrivaled is averaging 194,000 viewers. Coverage on Monday night averaged 166,000. Saturday coverage averaged 98,000. The battle between Dejanay Carrington and Angel Reese barely broke 75,000 viewers. Are you kidding me? If Caitlin Clark would have played in that game, it would have got 500,000 viewers. Oh no, watch. Angel's going to ball. You can't argue with 76,000 viewers.
But there's one massive question. Does Caitlin Clark even want to help this league? After everything she's been through, the disrespect, the targeting, the outright hatred from some players, does she really want to save them? That's what we're going to break down next, as we look at how badly Unrivaled is struggling without her.
You have been telling everyone how much you don't need Caitlin Clark. This is your opportunity to see if you can survive without her.
But no one's tuning in to watch Angel Reese. It's just not happening. She's not Michael Jordan. She's not Magic Johnson. She's not Larry Bird. She's someone that taunted Caitlin Clark. Those are the facts.
If the Unrivaled League was hoping to be the next big thing in women's basketball, they are in for a harsh reality check. The numbers don't lie. This league is failing fast. When Unrivaled first launched, there was a lot of hype. People were curious to see how a 3-on-3 women's basketball league would perform, especially with names like Angel Reese and Kelsey Plum involved. But curiosity doesn't equal long-term success. After just a few weeks, the viewership has completely collapsed.
Cool new modernizations and this whole new league that was just built and is now making its debut. Fans aren't really buying into it as of this point. The games have averaged about 312,000 viewers across TNT and True TV, which is their broadcast partners. Those numbers, just to put into a little bit of perspective, while they seem like, okay, we've got over 312, when you put them in comparison to some of the WNBA numbers, specifically the WNBA numbers that featured Caitlin Clark playing in a game, they are actually very low.
Let's talk hard numbers. On opening week, Unrivaled pulled in decent but not spectacular ratings. By the next week, viewership was already down 50%. Now, their top games are averaging only 160,000 viewers. To put that into perspective, let's compare Unrivaled to other sports. A random Friday night college basketball game, St. John's versus UConn, 1.45 million viewers. Even RuPaul's Drag Race on MTV, 530,000 viewers, over 3 times higher than Unrivaled. Bill Maher's show on HBO, a political talk show, pulled in 640,000 viewers, 4 times more than Unrivaled. Let's be real here. When a drag competition is pulling in 3 times your audience, you have a serious problem. And it's not just viewership. Unrivaled has already had to cancel games due to injuries and low player availability. This is not a league built for long-term success.
On Fox, you had college basketball, St. John's versus UConn. They drew 1,450,000 viewers, 1.45. Fire Country on CBS, over 4 million viewers. WWE SmackDown, 1.51 million. Unrivaled, a 0.16, 160,000 viewers. On HBO, 640,000 viewers. Drag Race on MTV, 530,000 viewers. It crushed Unrivaled.
Angel Reese has failed as the face of Unrivaled. One of the biggest talking points before Unrivaled launched was Angel Reese being marketed as a major draw. Many believed that with her popularity on social media and her college basketball fame, she would bring in millions of viewers. But the truth? She hasn't moved the needle at all.
According to the media, this league is filled with star power. Angel Reese might be well known. Angel Reese may be a star on social media, but there's a huge difference between a star and a draw.
Nobody is coming close to the power of the Caitlin Clark effect. Like, they're just not.
The transcript from our source even sarcastically points out how Reese kept claiming people were tuning in for her. Yet the numbers don't support that. Her games didn't perform better than others. In fact, the only time she gets real engagement is when Caitlin Clark is involved. This just confirms what many people already knew. Caitlin Clark is the only true megastar in women's basketball.
The boil on Caitlin Clark's ass, Angel Reese, may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups?
Think about it. Clark's rookie WNBA games broke records, her college games had millions of viewers, and every time she steps on the court, it's must-watch TV. Angel Reese, on the other hand, she's not moving tickets, not driving TV ratings, and now she's part of a league that's crumbling.
I saw highlights of it or lowlights of it, and I got to tell you, it's really bad. Watching 5-on-5 women is bad enough, but 3-on-3 women, worse. The Clark effect led to WNBA games that didn't even feature Clark, drawing an average of 400,000 viewers. It's the Caitlin Clark effect.
The Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky game, 2.3 million. Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever, 2.25 million. Fever versus the Storm, 2.2 million. Sun versus the Fever, 2.1 million. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying.
Why Unrivaled needs Clark to survive. At this point, it's clear that the only way Unrivaled has a future is if Caitlin Clark joins. This is why Napheesa Collier and the league's leadership are so desperate to get her involved.
It is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. If you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing.
America sent them a clear reminder. We are not interested in watching pretend basketball. We have 30 years of evidence that proves women's basketball does not draw on television. We have 30 years of evidence that proves Americans are not interested in women's basketball.
Advertisers aren't investing because they see the low numbers. Networks aren't interested in broadcasting a league that's pulling in just 160,000 viewers. Even Unrivaled's own financial backers, TNT Sports, must be questioning if this was a bad investment. If Unrivaled had Clark, everything would change overnight. Her games would instantly triple or quadruple viewership. Advertisers would line up to sponsor broadcasts. Arenas would actually sell out for live events. Social media buzz would skyrocket, bringing in real engagement rather than just temporary hype. Caitlin Clark is the golden ticket. Without her, this league is just another failed experiment.
Whatever she thinks she is or she's moving the needle, no. People are reaching for their remote when her games come on and clicking to something else. They're tuning out.
But here's the problem. Clark knows this. She knows that her presence could save Unrivaled, but does she even want to help? That's the biggest question. And that leads us to our next section. Why Clark rejected their $1 million offer and might continue to avoid this league altogether. At this point, it's obvious. Caitlin Clark is the biggest name in women's basketball. The WNBA knows it, Unrivaled knows it, and even her biggest critics know it. That's why Unrivaled tried to get ahead of their problems by offering Clark a massive $1 million contract to play a few games. But instead of jumping at the offer, Clark flat out rejected it. The question is, why? Most people would assume it was about money, but that's not the full story. In fact, Clark turning down $1 million says a lot about how little she thinks of Unrivaled. Let's break down the real reasons she refused to join the league.
Caitlin Clark is selling out everywhere she goes. Last season, the WNBA had to move road games out of high school gyms into actual NBA arenas just to accommodate the demand.
It is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. If you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing.
America sent them a clear reminder. We are not interested in watching pretend basketball. We have 30 years of evidence that proves women's basketball does not draw on television. We have 30 years of evidence that proves Americans are not interested in women's basketball. The main reason Unrivaled is failing, they have not given you a reason to watch.
You and I both know, right? We both know. No Caitlin Clark, no watch. No Caitlin Clark in the league, no watch. Caitlin Clark's in that league, viewership doubles, if not triple.
1. Clark needed rest. After a grueling 18-month schedule, from her final college season straight into the WNBA draft, followed by an immediate WNBA season with no break, Clark has been playing basketball non-stop for over a year and a half. Rookies like Clark have one of the most intense schedules in sports. She went from leading Iowa to the championship game, where she was breaking records, straight into WNBA training camp with no time to recover. Even Napheesa Collier admitted this, saying, especially for the rookies, they play for like 18 months straight. It's just a lot to handle, and there's no break. For a player who gives her all in every game, jumping straight into another league with no rest could have been physically and mentally exhausting. So Clark made the smart decision. She prioritized her body and her career over a short-term payday. 2. The offer was too low for a player of Clark's value. Unrivaled might have thought that offering Clark $1 million would be enough to get her on board. But here's the truth. Clark can make that in just a couple of days. She can earn $100,000 just for a 30-minute speaking appearance. Her endorsement deals, Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, etc., are worth millions. For Clark, $1 million isn't a game changer. If she really wanted, she could go to an event, give a speech, and walk away with 6 figures in a single night. If Unrivaled actually wanted to convince her, they would need to offer at least $10 million, maybe even more. Because right now, Clark is worth far more than they're offering.
Caitlin Clark is white, and because she's white, and because she's considered box office and she's a star who happens to be white, that is why Eminem, when I brought up words like envy or jealous or resentment, whatever word you wanted to pick, I didn't say it in a negative fashion like, oh my God, it's a problem. I used the word justified. You know why? Because Black people throughout this country have felt that level of ire because we know we've got to be twice as good to get half as much. We know we've got to extend ourselves. We know we've got to put ourselves on Front Street to have a shot at getting half. Pick a profession. Pick a name. Ask yourself, pick the biggest star. Pick the biggest star in podcasts. Pick the biggest star in television. Pick the biggest star in sports or whatever. That's Black. And ask yourself the question that we all ask. If they were white, what would they be? How much money would we get paid if we were white? How receptive would America be to us? Because it's still 60% of the population when the white populace in this country is dipped from 90 to 85 to 80 to 70 to now 60% and dipping, okay? Even now, you have a situation where you get somebody who happens to be white and they're a star and they deserve the acclaim. They receive something we know we wouldn't receive on that level. Why do you think I say on national television, when white folks catch a cold, Black folks catch pneumonia? Because it's always worse for us. There's always an extra challenge. We always have to go through more. It's not a secret. We get it. And so all I'm trying to say to you is when Angel Reese said what she said, let's read between the lines. Because what she's really saying is that this is really not a big deal. We're making it a big deal because of what I did and who I did it to.
3. Clark didn't want to help players who have disrespected her. This is the biggest reason why Caitlin Clark probably turned down Unrivaled. Let's not forget, this is the same league where players like Angel Reese have continuously disrespected her.
Angel showed up with her business out. You can see the business is just everywhere. Chesticles bouncing all over the place. She's not any good at basketball, so she has to show some skin to stay relevant.
I see you miss layups just like they do and everything, but forget them. I mean, I miss layups too. So, I mean,
everybody miss layups, but they can't get mad if I get the rebound. Box me out.
Yeah.
You're like 6'4". Is there a reason you cannot hit a damn layup?
Don't be mad because your fade didn't box her out. That's what I say. Period.
Reese has taken public shots at Clark, downplaying her achievements. Other players in the league have mocked her, criticized her, and tried to push her out of the spotlight.
I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time.
And now you want sympathy. Where was sympathy for all of those who you exposed your villainness?
But you've known they were coming for you when you were waving your hands in your face to mock Caitlin Clark when you were beating her for the national championship. And so you knew they were going to come for you.
I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that. Her fan base has gone, I'm talking about like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
No one has sympathy for the villain. You painted the bullseye on your back. Why are you surprised when people shoot at you?
I think Angel Reese is jealous of Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star. And Angel Reese is to be completely believed that there's no hate. They both get along. They're cool with each other. They're high-end competitors, et cetera, et cetera.
When I look at Caitlin Clark, fans are tuning in to watch her. And you know who that's helping? Everybody else.
Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5 days what would have taken 5 years.
Clark has been targeted with hard fouls and rough plays all season, so why would she now turn around and help those same people? Think about it. If Unrivaled's players were as great as they claim to be, the league wouldn't be failing.
They've lost over half of their viewers since the debut. By the third week, they went from 311,000 viewers for a Rose Basketball Club Angel Reese game down to 140,000. They would have had a hard enough time if Caitlin Clark would have played.
But without Clark, their viewership has completely collapsed. By staying out of Unrivaled, Clark has exposed every so-called big name in the league. If Angel Reese was really a superstar, why can't she bring in ratings? If Unrivaled was really packed with elite talent, why do people only care when Clark is involved? Clark's absence proves one thing. She is the reason women's basketball is growing. Will Clark ever join Unrivaled? Right now, Clark has no reason to join. The WNBA is already benefiting her with major sponsorship deals, record-breaking TV ratings, and packed arenas. But if Unrivaled desperately raises their offer to $10 million or more, things might change. Money always talks, and if the league is willing to go all in, Clark could be tempted. Even then, there's one last question. Does she even want to? Would Clark rather continue dominating the WNBA, where she's already breaking records? Or would she want to step into a league full of players who have done nothing but disrespect her? That's the ultimate question. And as Unrivaled continues to struggle, it's becoming clearer by the day. They don't just want Caitlin Clark, they need her.
Angel Reese is never going to improve her basketball skills. Check this out.
I see you miss layups just like they do and everything, but forget them. You know, I mean, I miss layups too. So, I mean,
everybody miss layups, but they can't get mad if I get the rebound, box me out.
Yeah. Don't be mad because your fade didn't box her out. That's what I say. Period.
I see your miss layups like they do, but forget them. What the fuck do you mean forget them? This is why Angel Reese's game is never going to get better, y'all. Her mom telling her this and her fans are the same exact way. Zero accountability, bro. Imagine this, y'all. You playing basketball in front of the whole world. People have been constantly criticizing your game and you messing up on the court. There's all this film and everything about what you need to do better and what you're messing up on. And your mom is just sitting here telling you, well, forget them. Just forget them, bro. Like, that's terrible advice. Like we see why Angel Reese is the way that she is. Man, look at how her mom is just talking to her, telling her just forget them, bro. But then y'all are so mad that the world doesn't like her and talk so much shit about her, bro. Right. And then she's like, oh, everybody misses layups. I'm so tired of this everybody misses layups thing. Yes, a whole bunch of basketball players miss layups, but people are not missing layups like Angel Reese, bro.
Fact.
Statistically the worst finisher in the league. So that means you're last and at the bottom. So that means you're the worst and nobody is missing like you are. God, this is not rocket science. Angel Reese GPA holders, bro. This is not rocket science, man. This is amazing. Y'all just cannot keep it real with this girl, bro. That's why she looks like an Unrivaled. That clip that just came out with her getting blocked by Breanna Stewart like 3 times or something, and then she finally made the shot, bro. That's why her game looks like it is not even improved at all, man. And then the whole, you gotta box me out to get the, bro, you should be making the shot, bro. Instead of sitting up here talking about, oh, people aren't boxing you out and all of this bullshit. Like, if you make the shot, bro, we wouldn't be even sitting up here talking about these whole rebounds and over and that bullshit, man. But it's crazy, bro. It's crazy I came across that clip. I just saw somebody post it today, and I'm like, damn, bro. No wonder this girl does not take accountability.
At this point, the writing is on the wall. Unrivaled League is sinking fast, and Caitlin Clark is the only one who can save it. Napheesa Collier's latest statement makes it clear. They are leaving the door wide open, practically begging Clark to join. But here's the reality. Clark doesn't need Unrivaled. In fact, it's the other way around. Without her, their ratings have collapsed, their biggest stars have failed to bring in viewers, and the league is running out of options. The real question is, will Clark ever accept their offer? Will they be willing to pay her what she's actually worth? And even if they do, Does she even want to help a league filled with players who have disrespected her at every turn? One thing is certain, Caitlin Clark holds all the power here. Wherever she goes, fans follow. If Unrivaled wants a future, they better start backing up the Brinks truck. Because without Clark, there might not be a second season. Let us know what you think in the comments. Should Caitlin Clark ever play in Unrivaled? Or should she leave them to figure it out on their own? And as always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any updates on this ongoing drama. We'll see you in the next video.
So Caitlin Clark's jersey retirement got a lot of viewers, right? But what if I told you just the fact that Caitlin Clark was in the building for this game made it one of the most popular games in women's college basketball for the season? Caitlin Clark's jersey retirement was huge. It was a huge event. Yes, A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement was on the exact same day. There was no question about it. Fair enough, like if Steph Curry showed up somewhere, there would be more posts about Caitlin Clark showing up there. There are levels to fame, and the level of fame Caitlin Clark is at might be up there with the highest levels there are. That is impressive. She's the face of women's basketball, obviously. She ain't even play and she still drew the most numbers. It is actually scary how much of a draw Caitlin Clark is as a player.